98.5 FM. 8.5 FM, True Talk Radio. Get the facts, get to talk. 98.5 FM, True Talk Radio. Get the facts, get to talk.
Good evening. We welcome una again to another episode of We Economy with a come to una on 98.5 FM True Talk Radio. Today I deal with very fine people them. I deal with my co-host Dr. Adams, and I deal with two people them we come off from civil society group them. The one on my left now Mr. Andrew Lavalley, the executive director for Institute for Governance Reform, and on my right now the coordinator for Budget Advocacy Network, Mr. Abubakar Kamara. Today we welcome up to a very interesting and important topic, waiting at the role where civil society then they play inside the management of the economy. Now we all know say them people here or them group here they play a very important role. Then they make leaders them accountable, and then they make sure say we hear the voices of the citizens them inside everyday decision making. But apart from the service system where they provide for we, them also they act as key agents them for bringing change inside the society. If government make decision and go down well with the people them, for example, and then they bring them to the notice of the people them and to the government say no, on a need for do 1, 2, 3 for go to the people them will. And they also they got the government attention to pressing issues them where they come inside the country, and then they rally people them, and then they make sure say them voice go far, and they provide political and economic support in all causes them where governments they take. And most importantly, now them people here they make sure say the promises them where governments they make, then deliver on them. So then they as watchdogs them. But how exactly their organizations here they operate? Who's challenge their organizations here they face? And who's impact the organization they are get on government in accountability for make Papa government give we waiting them promise we? Who's impact them people here can creating and kind space them they? For help we answer them question here, now make we bring them fine gentlemen here, them this net here. And themselves they work actively inside the civil society space, and we want to hear from them, but them work with them they do, and how then they help for shape the future on a saloon. So una please join me as I welcome again them two fine personalities here once more inside the program for tonight. So una welcome. And to my co-host as well. Well, you're not a new face again, so you self welcome.
Thank you. The only thing we need to add is the economy all around the world. They face there are challenges there. We don't just see American government they topple them down. The government with the power they don't pull up the new person they can. And the number one issue where voters they point to they say the economy. We they see challenges in Kenya, in Ghana, everywhere the economy really. That the number one thing right now where they affect all over the world. Inflation, prices they high. But at the same time, I don't know if it's a coincidence or not, But with the Yeri say civil society activities, don't they go down, especially in a salon. With the Yeri accusations, they say the way the guy had been loud during the last they're not loud so again. I know they try for creating things between the two. I know they try for say because the activities don't go down, then the economy they go bad, no, or the economy they go bad, we are not do enough, no. But just try for say coincidence there between when the economy they really go bad and when people that they accuse una for don't cow myself, or don't live, or don't go behind, or don't do as much as no. So now let's go straight to the program, okay? Let's start this program. And the very first question where they ask, I know the director to one person. And the left alone when I take this question. What in a civil society? What in a civil society? We don't really tell me, but don't understand. We all understand CSO, civil society organization. We don't really know now waiting. Tell family then, what in a civil society? What in really a civil society organization? Let's start here.
Well, me will talk from the perspective of the work we do.
Yes.
As a budget allocation network. So for we dey promote transparency, accountability, and citizens' participation around the economic management of the country in terms of both the two things that we budget. We look at expenditure and revenue, and also in relation to the budget process. So we get critical role for play. Number one, how do we ensure that there is accountability, that in every aspect of we economic management, people will be accountable for their actions and for the position and way they hold. Secondly, how do we ensure that transparency is key? You know, mind you, the level of transparency of a government, they really tell you the level of development. If we get limited transparency, means say there is a whole prospect for corruption for happen. So we get a role for play for ensure say there is transparency in all of this process. Of course, in the government therefore take decision on the behalf of the people then. So we also there for ensure say those decisions then we government they take around the economy, around the tax policies, around the fiscal policies, them that if forget the human face, if forget the people's face, because these decisions now for let they improve the life of the citizens then. So if there is a decision where the people then feel say they affect them, in most cases it can happen because the people then know they participate in that decision. And at times they can just feel say now like, you know, they're in the economic governance now technocrat things then. But that layman in information we get around how to manage the economy is key. So we also therefore ensure say we have to create that space for the citizens voice come into governance, so that the decision we government will take go and help to address the people then. Of course, from the economic governance again, you know, it also linked to the legal aspect. So we also there as civil society, we also therefore ensure say, I mean, the laws that we government they make for pass around the management of the economy, that then laws then they like progressive laws them, not to laws them where the people them go really feel the pinch of them. I can give for example the GST decision where they reduce the threshold from 400,000 to 100,000 will make a number of businesses number of small businesses come to a tax bracket, and the implication of that is huge. Of course, there was a strike, everything. So, and what's
this GST?
What are the goods and services tax?
Okay, now the tax they pay on
for every goods or services and way they purchase. So we therefore also ensure say then law then they as civil society that there are progressive laws and laws them where they create that or where they help for create an enable environment for citizens them for strive, for business for strive. So we also they checkmate those laws them and also do a number of things around that. So overall, from the economic governance perspective, we civil society will therefore promote accountability, transparency, and citizen participation in the management of the people's resources.
Okay. So Mr. Lavali, we don't hear from Zakama here. A focus on what band they do a focus on the economic governance aspect of civil society. But the same question will be asked, I want to send them to you. Who done a civil society?
Yeah, so from the civil society na two way broad. With man can say na organization then we know they do business, like now they do per market, and organization that we not make for politics. So you know they per politics, you know they per business. So now then they call civil society. So it can be like then church organizations, it can be like mosques, it can be like hunting society, it can be like the women's organizations. So all the forms and the way people like organize all can be civil society.
Okay.
All the things the way people like organize, say now the way this whole one for express with voice, for say if we happy, now the way this whole organize for show say we happy. If we sad, we frustrate by something, now the way this whole the show.
Okay.
But if you go towards APC, if you go towards SLPP, and if you go per buy and sell, now not to civil society again.
Okay.
So per then civil society, you can see say you get it with my own, when I like me and band them, then you get the country my own. The country my own, like we go on Sunday. If you go now like community then women's organization where they call Sunday or Bondo. Something in the way some man can take advantage by them, they can come together as well they're driving at all. And to me grow up now upline, I don't see some chief way bad where they say they don't pull poro. Then they sing about that chief, they hold them accountable. And the young people then can express saying that this we're not happy about. So now it's civil society. Before it's man they come, then now we own democracy down there. But inside we own context down there, I'm glad the way Bando express them. Now they call it with civil society. Now we they look now the way government they run, how government for account, the way parliament they run, how parliament for account, and in that one they will all they do different things. If you go now like ban, they look at how the economy the budget. If you go the way justice, you see say you get car in like Center for Accountability and the Rule of Law. And they just look at justice.
Okay.
If you watch like how other forms of accountability affect statistics Sierra Leone, how do they do census, you see say like IGR can hold on with them. So civil society diverse. You know, fine, like you talk, say people have they talk to it, they need talk now.
We're not going back.
No, not to one person talk. Not to one person. I just want by that definition. That you imam day where they na you mosque na your village, if something don't go wrong, if I talk. If I will go to South Africa where they say Desmond Tutu, late Desmond Tutu, where you don't talk, a pass where you don't put both organization together. So yeah, they say they are concerned about the church, you get concerned about the mosques, you get concerned about small organizations then. So not really not civil society, not that dynamic space who say citizens then they come for express like market women then they can come together and say we a market women association. If water no day today, if light no day, you see team the man, team the woman within a market, men the woman within a market, they don't care about tribe. They say no, water no day in a market, Lord make demand for water. So now that's civil society.
Okay, so Mr. Kamara, according to what Andrew Doll explained, who say civil society they put their strength? You know, to government, you know, they do business, you know, get money. So who say they put this your strength here for able influence anything I will say you get for influence? If you want influence government, for instance, the government they can pull budget. You want to ensure say this and this will be included in budget. Who say they pull the power? What's in that civil society the unique strength?
I think we get to strength from the people then,
Okay.
because we they serve as an intermediary in terms of expressing the people's concerns to the government, especially on issues them where they affect them. You know, in all of this work what we do, if we not get the citizens them buying, it will be difficult for we. And in fact, I know I'm going to one of the questions we asked. Now I will start for talk about briefly. One of the reasons why they think that civil society is not too vociferous because of the fact that some of the things then what they do, we need to go along, we need to take the citizen for go along with the citizen. And when you do that, they need to become aware. And then that gap will exist, wherein that information gap will exist. So mostly we get our strength from the people.
Okay.
But above all is how we get our strength from the aspiration of ensure say things then change for the betterment of the people. So the people now they at the center of the work we do. If they do work around, say for example, revenue, the whole essence is now for let say there's accountability and they able to generate enough resources for the government use and provide services for the people. Then we talk about expenditure again. It's about the people. So we strength more is for say government able to provide service to the people in an accountable and transparent manner.
Okay, so if I glean from what it don't say, I say for assume say civil society now the people we not get voice in government, right? We not
definitely.
Yeah, so I go say civil society is the people.
Now the people and we're not able to go to boardroom, we're not able to go to parliament, we're not able to go to state house.
Okay.
Now then groups there where they call civil society, then they represent. So for example, Labour Congress, Australian Labour Congress. Not to all work hard able go to the Ministry of Labour, but the president of the Labour Congress they go represent there.
Yeah.
You know why civil society for being neutral? Because that's the Labour Congress. You get APC, they get SLPP. But if they say today, now minimum wage, now they want advocates for, they expect say it doesn't matter which regime they in power. The president for go team up and talk for him people there. The same with market women. But you ask a question just now, who can pull restraint? We get who can pull restraint.
Okay.
Like for example, now IGL, with a pull restraint on the quality of research what they do. So they say with a give high quality evidence to government, to in a market, to other stakeholders then. So we now part of the Afrobarometer now a movement in Africa where it generates citizen-driven evidence for letting then can. So I remember one time in 2020 we'll pull reports about how citizens they feel about corruption, which institution they feel the most corrupt. So you say you get an organized group when they collect all the information and they go give the state and let the state act on that. But too often people like if you say civil society work now for just contest the state, but civil society for actually look for results. The results mean being if whether trade union, when Australian Labour Congress, they can't talk for the minimum wage rate. They're able to change the minimum wage rate. Bandon do a lot of reports on they don't future na parliament. They don't go discuss them. And this is say like for example where they do something on Ebola. So if they see the question they can ask themselves, that report the way you produce, you don't get boku money, you don't put inside that report there. Government acts on them. So sometimes we do a lot of background work with the lobby, say no, this why not so teachers they feel, not so people they feel about this. So and you know then interest will act on that. And let's just say this quickly. Sometimes we can get the tendency for look at everybody in our government as bad. And when you do that, you know what you go to do? You always fetch them. When you in civil society, sometimes they go talk say, no, let us watch about Abubakar 9 day in a director na ya. But sometimes Abubakar really now the means he not get for act, he want for act. So one of the things civil society can do back now for try for understand which now Abubakar problem. So they call it social accountability. So if they make less citizens understand say really I know one like local councils. We work with do local council. We don't see say now government they send less than 5% of the budget to council. Council they don't get budget money. So if that council chairman not get money, how you go ask and say, look, this didn't happen, this didn't happen. So if civil society they help the council say, when I explain by the people they understand say reading that money I know they. And when that small one day don't come back, civil society will make sure say that small one day when I account for them back. So on both sides, on the part of the state and the part of citizens, civil society they try for let both sides understand. And that make sure say you're not partisan. Because there's a difference between where they try for let one party come on a power and another party candidate. The moment you don't do that, you're not to civil society again. But when they try for solve problem, like for example, budget advocacy network, all in work now for advocate for budget transparency, for we make savings, we invest more. If you watch the report, then you always talk say, this money has we don't lost now, but for don't build 3 hospitals. Okay. Waiting at the delegation where they go abroad, but this travel here. This delegation if we minimize this travel, yeah, we for don't build one hospital with this. So we dey always strive for draw, we dey try for draw attention to them thing and they, because at the end of the day, even the person wey dey lead, you get for make say if you do this, people then gladly with you, you go govern well, you go govern more.
Okay. So I can summarize it like this. Civil society, they get a strength from one, representing the people well. Represent the people without not get voice, you get voice. Then they get the strength from the quality of the work that they do.
Exactly.
You do your work well. You investigate which are the need, what government in need, which are the people they need, and not just fet. Try for know what really happen, what really go wrong, and advocate on that. Okay. So I will ask one question now, or two. Give me examples. So say really civil society does succeed in Salon. Give me examples. Say this particular thing, this is a success of BAN or any other civil society, even if not a BAN, but any other civil society organization we know. You said I go ask you the same question.
The work they do, for example, in the case of BAN, one of the things that we focus more is the evidence. Follow get the evidence for engage and provide alternatives, not just for criticize the issues or blast the issues, but also provide alternatives. And governments get their way out of the act on some of the civil society recommendations then. Now I'll give you an example. The work we do around tax exemptions. The tax exemptions and like the money we government the gear away in terms of, say for example, if mining come in one camp, they take part of the agreement, they say okay, you not pay import tax, not pay this GST, not pay this, not pay this. So all that money they would the key. Now they can call exemptions. And also you also go for INGOs them and some NGOs them that you need to pay for certain things then way they come up inside the countries. So we do work around tax exemptions wherein we say let me just look at 4 mining companies. That was 2012. Now try to understand how much are the total exemptions there we government the loss. And by then that money they now be $224 million yearly. And we not even look at all of the exemptions then, we just focus on the import duties and all the other one then. And that money they by then now 8 times the education budget plus 7 times the health budget. So we do that report there and again let me give you an example in terms of again where also and where we pull strength in terms of the evidence. Interestingly, when we don't complete our reports there, it take government, especially the NRA, like almost 8 months for confirm say the information correct, because we know say the data information correct, but in the work we do, we like for collaborate with government. We like for validate the information first to go in program public, and once we get the confirmation that indeed we estimate in terms of how much we lost is correct, we went ahead and launched the report. In fact, the Minister of Information by then, the first thing we question say, believe the information is correct. So we just forward the letter, say this is what look at what NRA then say confirm, and then the story change because it was covered by BBC by then. The story changed. Well, it's a business. If I lost 200, I make 300. I'm sorry, I don't go 100,000 savings. So we get a number of recommendations we profile on that report. The one, we follow get the tax exemption policy, tax exemption law.
So we get any of that.
Yes, I can't. I just want to show you the joining. How we do because the thing is, there are times you do something now.
And later,
it really happen past after. Just imagine from 2012, we start for engage government every year, constructing, remind them around this also. First, we start to begin engaging for let them begin put on the budget speech that then go find way for release exemptions, and we see them begin put on the budget speech, but then nothing happened. Fast forward, we see now we don't get an exemption, tax exemption policies, and now we don't get a law. But mind you, the journey starts in 2012.
Okay. And
all of these things happen now around 2018 to 2019.
Okay.
So and our government they act on that day. If you know able track then that process there, nobody will know that it's civil society contributes to letting that particular thing happen. And I feel say now one of the gaps we also need for advice. How do we ensure say we communicate the joining and success then we don't really create.
Okay.
That's now one example. So now we don't get the exemption policies. We now don't even get the law now.
Okay.
Though again, we decide for say how we ensure say even the exemptions then we government will start for monitoring for ensure say they use them for the purpose way. And because those, for example, those are exemptions. Now, government contribution towards development. For example, if an ING or NG go import close them, say for give orphanage them. Of course, as per the law, the policy, they give the exemptions. But we don't see. In 2018, maybe they part of the a committee going to be set for looking to the concessions the government give. And in there are instances then wherein they know they use that for the intended purpose. There is a particular company where imports over 100 generators then, big generators then. And the process will go, how much generators? They are just one. Where are the others gone? So people they misuse those exemptions. So now that make one aspect of the new law is how the government for work with civil society for monitor the use of those exemptions. But the good thing now is we now get a policy, we don't translate now, we now get a law. Or now for ensure so that it's transparent.
So we have to come back to this. Mr. Lavali, I want to summarize now. Not really summarize. But before that, I just want to inform and say we're going to give the opportunity for let us call in and make comments and contribute to the discussion. We open the line at 9:50. The number for call is 072-641-729. 072-641-729. Summarize what I really you feel say civil society don't succeed now. Just like how Mr. Kamara don't give example. Give me some example.
I don't really want to talk about IGR. So if today we talk about the quality of democracy in Sierra Leone, you go look at NEW, the National Elections Watch, how far they don't come. If you say today it's about media freedom, you talk about the Sierra Leone Association of Journalists. In fact, now that makes Sierra Leone democracy now one of the highest in Africa.
So if we say they contribute to the criminal libel,
cool. So in fact the states not able to do without civil society. So IGR will get quite a lot. In fact, one of the reports, the debates and the parliament, APC and SLPP, they agree say no, this report we actually see this is how people and they look at health and education and we say they want for them block the leakages. Both parties then in 2021, they debate to report and agree. And waiting on what we need for do now how do we follow through on that? That we even get now True Talk when I civil society radio, where we all can sit down and discuss how they build this economy back. It's the true strength of our civil society they work. I think so waiting on the change where they be now in Salone. Now the fact say you get small organization they all talk about evidence with the research evidence. I think so that culture shift the night.
Okay, I think we'll get for move on. Mr.
Interesting. I don't agree from them two gentlemen, and they really don't show you how civil society they contribute to Salone growth. But not just inside Sierra Leone, all over the world, people in the free say the way how citizens when they able to talk, the freedom we then get, and how then the whole government to account, it don't they reduce, it don't they shrink. The civic space really don't they shrink. And now people are not able for organize protests again for express grievances against how then they feel against government. You understand? So I want to tell you about the civic space inside Sierra Leone. How what are the freedom we the ordinary citizen get inside Salone? Then they protect the human rights. They're able to talk freely without they not hold them, without they not lock them in jail. Then they get access to information, both span politics, business now, and how governments they spend and corporate inside the country. And where the laws themselves, them where they guide civil society they don't work with and they do then law then they them fear, or we get laws themselves where they guide how then they operate, where they protect them back safe. So if them overstep or if they do something where government will say, hey, when I want to expose we or when I want mass we own foot, law then they will go protect them people them there. And with the middle class, we get a middle class where really they work with the serve as that body where they link governments now and they want them will not get better inside the country. So I only want to tell you about that day. I mean, when you look at during the war, for example, then Desmond Abu them, and then been Edmond Abu sorry, and then been match gonna for this and host, and we know the role way them been play for let the war done. We still get them kind of thing the inside Sierra Leone currently. Also, whole civil society display and how the civic space day. So I want to start with you. Mr.
No, I mean civil society, the civic space. I think say I would call it. I think say mixed. So you get some side and they will talk to for celebrate. You get some side and they will do worry about. I'm glad you talk about demonstration. I think say the biggest concern with a lot of Sierra Leoneans then get now with the police. So like policing. So if you can on a street, you will see checkpoints. Some people like, what is this checkpoint they about, man? So it's sometimes this checkpoint they are not intelligence led. For say the worker they are not getting no nothing. I rush for going to the meeting. Then somebody flag me down. And imagine if you take your goods from Kabbalah for Canfrito, the number of checkpoints where they get. So that now policing are one thing down there, and that it dovetail into demonstration. I think so. We because one of the fundamental tools with civil society they use, not only for form organization, but to have people that they organize. Because for demonstrate means for show, so you can hold placards. Granted. Police they can get legitimate fears. Say if they allow demonstration, it will turn up into violence. But you get for land for allow people and for demonstrate. So it means you get for talk say when I get for go on a parade ground, on a hold on placards there. Also on a go on a one can around Parliament, we go on a placards there for 3 hours. After 3 hours, when I can go home. You understand? Around the world, demonstration can cause threats, but the police they manage them. I think they're down there are the biggest threats to civic space. But in terms of civil society, they see I don't see a lot of people and they sing music. Then they see and I read they talk about whose music this Nakenima. Young people in Nakenima they sing. Nobody they actually get this sort of knock at your door. I think say some of the biggest problem we get back now in social media. Not to it's that house to house attack. Group to group attack against one another on social media, but by and large we look like at media freedoms. In fact, I think say the media in Sierra Leone is recklessly free.
Okay.
It's good for reporting. Like we not get journalists there within a prison. So we'll get down there, but you get them fundamental things there, like for example access to critical information. How citizens they forget now and they when they make the act, the freedom of assembly. For advocates for the thing that way they're not happy about, whether it doesn't matter which regime then they're against. I think say that one is the biggest threat to civic space. But I think say the level of poverty we'll get, it's easy for then bribe somebody quiet. All of that then country the way they talk about, then country they get big middle class. And when middle class big in a country now, people will come together and organize. But the kind level of poverty, there's a lot of compromise, including even opposition. Last 2 weeks ago, we talk about witness the role of the opposition. So you get a lot of compromises that where they be, and that's why I'm happy about this conversation. Let's see beyond just IGR and ban, who's with everybody for playing the democracy, for holding the economy to order.
Okay, so what do you think, Mr. Kamara, on that question?
You know, let's start with for answer this question with some things will happen back with me when they suspend the Auditor General. There was a time.
We go come to that.
I didn't bring the premises, please. There was a flyer I forgot on TV. A number of me relatives call me, hey, you don't go under. If you left me, no good. So there is that perceived thinking around citizens that will create fear on for people to talk. The point is, from the government perspective, you know they see openly, then say there is the civic space, this that, but just as an Valley say, the social media are also one issue. where to create a whole lot of scenario where can type of create fear. So there is a fear among citizens for people who they talk on critical issues them. And just imagine that even me mom called me, say, if left no go for that program there. But the point here is we will not get that open or that formal aspect of limiting the space. Like for say government they say don't do this, don't do this. We still get the space. For example, for going ready for talk, for going TV for talk, without no hindrance, and we don't even see in government press conferences them they even invite civil society who can talk on things them way they really no want. Or if we say the good side of it. But one critical aspect is how we again as society ensure say waiting with the talk a objective, a evidence based, and a not be linked to any political party. What thing we don't see is we don't see some instances then wherein civil society them very self they go against them colleague civil societies and where they do things them. We see instances them around, say for example, around the issues of the import duties on rice, where some favor, some not favor. So because of course I know now in democracy everybody get right for say in views there. But because the citizens that they see say there is that polarization around the society in terms of not coming together to speak on one issues. So they also a passive say that it's something like a state capture. Of course, we cannot divert that fact. They say there are some civil society organizations them where really not like a mouthpiece for government. And when that can normally happen, we see that they go against civil other hand and really focus on their own issues then. So among citizens, then get that idea that fear don't be created some among citizens there. But the space is there. We can go on radio and talk and blast for government. Like in real case now, we not just blast, we also provide alternatives. But one other critical thing we raise here is the aspect of access to information. For me, I think it's also, I can say, around learn around the varying word we use just now. I don't forget to say, but like it mix. There are certain information them. Government will never tell us they give the information. But that go can say you end up for just give up. For example, in the case of the work we do as BAN, we can say Ministry of Finance can give the information there. We can attest to that. But I don't know if not because of relationship we don't build among them. But it's also good again for citizens and for also test the law. We get access to information law. How do we ensure say citizens and individuals them organizations use that law there for also provide the information? But the good thing is, in terms of access to information, we get a law where they guarantee citizens for access information. But we don't see here wherein some state institutions then now they go abide for ensure say them provide law. We don't see inside the commission don't find some institutions there and we don't know what type would that find it, whether them pay or not because they don't get access to information. But the law is there in terms of providing those information.
Okay, so I'm glad you mentioned say polarization inside the civil society space. The thing is, where you look like during the war, like I've been mentioned, man, them mean they together. The organizations them mean they work together. Actually, you understand? Say them play a very good role for stop the war. Them contribute heavy one. But recently, with the notice, say the civil society space is fragmented. All man gets in your own view, so it will make the able come together for let them able to present this united front. So I wonder we talk around Nandi. Waiting don't contribute to this weakness where we don't see inside the civil society space. So wetin contributes to its weakening, and how we feel say it dey affect we work, and how we dey able for solve them.
Firstly, I'll talk about the strength first and the new development that happened since the war. Society don't form themselves into various thematic areas. Then we see, for example, around budget, we get a coalition of organizations, they work together. We don't see the only work around mineral mining issues. There we see, for example, NIS. So first, the society don't specialize on particular issues. We have a very good strength. So if you can in terms of education, we get education for all with the champion nation and other organizations. So then a new development on the side of society we really don't happen. But again, if you can in terms of the weakness, for me, one aspect is the quality of the work way society do. Because if
we'd like interject. First, you agree say civil society is weaker today than it was during the war?
Well, we need to put it in context.
I disagree.
No, because the question is actually about that.
So
it's during the war, will be really strong. Because that's what it's right? It's okay, really strong. Yeah, but now it's we're not too strong again. You agree so we're weaker now?
Firstly, during the war, we are more around social mobilization.
What's that mean?
What I mean, all facets of people from the civil society space, they come together and fight a cause.
One cause.
And that cause is a national cause. But now, we don't get specific, specialized thematic areas then. We look at specific issues. For example, if you take in terms of budget transparency, during the war, nobody even looked at budget transparency. Nobody really asks how the government collect money, how the government spend money.
Or election integrity.
They check election. They see they take by the way they vote marble. They go take one marble and go bar box and go throw behind that. But now, those things are not happening again. Now, civil society they push. You get they put for government transparency. We get they put for the judiciary transparency and accountability. For example, Carl. We get Chadi. They push for that. So transparency for them very thematically also and accountability is more now than how it be before. And now we don't begin seeing our civil society now first civil society and then they take and say they're not too expert them, they're not too educated, they're not too technical to them. But now with civil society, they only analyze information or batch information, they provide alternatives on how they think things will really change as compared to before. And it's also by thematic area. We do also see for example in the area of the natural resources. So I don't know whether they not be care how they sign contract, we now do the contract say about the natural resources. But now we get a specialized group of civil society where they put pressure on government for the government follow the process, government follow the aspects for ensuring say people can benefit. So for overall, civil society thematically don't improve. What thing I feel say not day like every day, that aspect of social cohesion where we all come together. If there's a cause, we a national cause, all society come together and fight that cause day. But in the other areas then in terms of pushing for transparency and accountability, we more better now than how it be did.
So
firstly, we will get the hub for bring all the society together for fight that one cause, and that all blame I know weak now. So rather, as an alternative now, suicide don't form into thematic group them for look at the issue now on a thematic perspective.
No, but me I feel say issues them the way they come up, where they require national cohesion, way for me can all come together. And I pose this question to you. Recently, them been fire the Auditor General Lara Taylor Pierce. That have been something where all civil society for been come together and talk about. Them pull the audit reports in this country and Parliament's not sit down for debate. Not so something that we feel say them all for being sit down and talk about. Salon in level the way then they rank with country and accountability issues them it don't drop. not so something that way you feel say for serve as super glue for join all civil society together, but we know they are them.
Okay.
So I want to talk around that.
Thank you very much. So I think say you don't make an addendum to the question.
Yes.
So let's just start with during the war will be the first collective threat.
Okay.
So like Abubakar say, with the first collective threat, civil society, no civil society, you get Amaboro, you get Kamajo, all man they come together. So it was not because civil society was cohesive, it was because there was an existential threat to everybody.
So corruption not a collective threat?
Corruption is a collective threat. But you know, let me just finish. So you see, so after the war done, and you know, like society begin now for specialize, we begin for accumulate. In fact, that money will begin for accumulate now. You understand that under successive regime after Kaba, and how they distribute their resources, then I think say it lead to fragmentation, because during the war much not been there, all man be the fear for in life.
Okay.
Now that make in fact civil society at that time they were with government. So I remember citizens, CSM, civil society movement. There was government too, not for say they oppose Kaba. Now for Kaba when they come, they give them money, say go do this, go do that. That was civil society at the time. But now, that's not the case. But really, I think say we get more compelling reason for act on the things that we're not collective today. I'm glad the way you mentioned the Auditor General. I mean, thanks Bakar for some of the action owner take for take position on that. We took IGI, we take earlier position. I will talk to that we first been take position on the audit service. But you know, within civil society there is so much suspicion. And until and unless we address that suspicion, the good thing will don't happen. I don't see APC and SLPP, they don't sit down together, then come with 80 recommendations. They agree, particularly the effect. But sometimes that inability for less civil society come together, say we can get differences then, but let us agree on this. And you know why this is important? Because there are perceptions about many groups in society, and because of them perception, then they find let there be diversity in actions, like that collective action, that diversity. If law says something happen no more, the Andrew Lavalley talk say now this action that they take, you get sections of society where they talk say no, this is why I not trust them. You get some group that they talk say no, this is why this action. You get sections then where they talk say I not trust this. So that make your question really relevant as to why it's in moments where compelling for let civil society act, why will not they act in that moment and really compelling? In fact, what you can see with the individual press releases there, and sometimes it can all end by condemnation. I condemn this, and so what? So I think
let me ask a very fundamental question before you complete this. On government side, they will argue say removing the Auditor General na governance and part of the mandate, because in the part of the executive, you really believe say executive actions like that, if the executive, the president, within the powers for appoint this person, even though maybe it's supposed for be independent, of course I agree, but within the powers of the president for do the appointment, you feel say that matter like that civil society actually supposed for even interfere?
I think so, because the biggest resource where parliament get for oversee the economy na the audit report. In fact, also you get a strong parliament, now the parliament more for day with the Auditor General, not to civil society sef, because it's their research. Now they look at how all the expenses then they can lay them. But over time,
but specifically in this case, maybe parliament don't look at the report, and parliament side with the executive. Is that not a possibility?
Well, and I try to talk what happened in this circumstance.
No, the question we asked that.
But how audit reports are being treated generally?
Okay.
You know, the thing when happened to Lara, it happened because we see audit not as an accountability tool, but audit became a political issue. To some point, all sides they actually try for, yes, hold position on the audit. But I think say Bakar they don't do a lot of work on the audit. Okay. I want differ to them.
So let we take a quick break. And while we take a quick break first, let we relax. When we come back now, we go continue.
Announce the number.
When we come back at 9:50, you go able for contribute your voice to this conversation. The number is 072 641 729. 072 641 729. Let we go for a quick break. If you've been on the day with it, today we dey try for look at the role wey civil society then they play inside government. Again, with me, I'm a co-host, Dr. Adams, and we get two people then we come up from two big civil society organizations. Them, Mr. Lavali from IGR and Mr. Kamara from BAN, Budget Advocacy Network. The number again where you call in case you want to contribute your voice now 072 641 729. The phone line open now, and you can call and contribute your voice.
Okay.
So
whilst we wait for the call, let's continue with discussion. One fundamental question again where they go back to is, are you quieter now? Because we hear Embassy talker. Embassy don't put recent song. You don't hear that song? They say civil society be loud yesterday. They're not loud today. So one question I really want to ask you: when are quieter now, civil society?
You know, from the side of we on network, we're not quieter. And what we see in a number of society, we not keep quiet. We always continue for raise issues them where then they happen, both from the legal aspect, from the election issue, for example. We always see new not quite still continuing for raise issues then around elections. You know, one issue as I've mentioned earlier is how do we ensure say we go along, we carry the people along with what we do. There are many times the expectation of the citizens them and what will they do not the same for a line. And whether they happened, did they say we somehow quiet. Then issues them where they want. For example, if you come in terms of corruption issues, people just go and bash. But like in William case now, we can always look for generate the evidence on why this thing happened before we engage on the issues.
So ban not quieter.
Ban not ever quieter.
IGR is not quiet.
And
I don't say quiet, quieter.
No, it's not. let me say this. The same thing that we do, then same Afrobarometer will be produce, and same what they publish. Within the data they give, they say now they publish. But you know, too often, if you ask whether they can talk to them and they don't quiet.
Please hold on there. We don't get with first caller. You will continue after that. Hello caller, your name and who side you they call from?
Hello, good evening. How are you doing?
Yeah, fine. Your name and who side you they call from? Okay, Joey. Yes, what do you want to say today? Okay.
because I take ground envelope from the central people level. I mean, at the grassroots people level, so far. You know, but they're not taking care about you. No, but I'm taking care for. We don't care for some. Come on.
Okay. Thank you very much. We will ensure that the panelists will discuss this. So they come to the same question why they ask. Are you quieter? Because this man said
no. You know what's in? Some.
Yeah, before, hold that thought. Let me hear from the next person back. Hello, caller. You name and where you call from?
Good evening. John Albert Simbo, and they call from region.
Okay, Mr. Simbo.
Yeah, you see, one told you say civil society activities are not doing that this country. Also, they give credit to Mr. Labali because most of the time, in with the yearly, is challenge government and they didn't account for the people for understand. But majority of the civil society organization in this country, then just they still they happen, they know they talk. I understand one time I listen to Mr. Labali with how they present European issue. When he talk thanks about waiting government bill for do and how government for move that thing is. But most of the people they feel for doing it for do. You think of waiting they happen, the way how hunger they attack people and how frequent people and they do to people and civil society people and they feel and listen to the talk nothing. And one for say civil society at this time, we go for stand for the people. When you think of demonstration, the kind of survivality, that we get a play a big fee. You say all man go there, talk your mind. And then do what you want. Government will listen and then see what they get for you. When that happen in this country, you talk now, and we're going for country to keep you. Somebody will look, but what do you want to say? We made a start. We needed it to happen. What I'm seeing with people and they do now, one will say they are civil society, everything they will do for we now, for them, make sure they will stand. Who's how we voice the issue, and we'll talk for them, voice the issue. I don't think it's that.
thank you very much.
Interesting.
Thank you. So, Mr. Labali, you are
No. I mean, it's the same. Not the same vibe. I mean, Afrobarometer with it right now. We collect the data. We get for publishing by next year. Oh, the thing more with that data now they publish. But too often when people can be in opposition, they can be in a hurry because normally opposition can go with anger. Then get in a hurry for let's say certain things. But we are more driven by results. We want to see results rather than for mobilize anger. And sometimes they, now so SLPB with the talk. You see them when they say so they if I showing me send me phone where SLPB in a power.
no APC in a power.
APC in a power. But this una need talk about them. Una need talk about them. See look now they don't go arrest Lima. Una need talk about them. Because they want for let you monopolize that anger they inflow them.
Okay.
So but waiting that we don't work in a civil society. You see say we don't publish 2 census papers. There's a census will go bad under SLPP. There's a census will go bad under APC. All 2 then census they will analyze them. Just go to IGR the website. The report that they publish for say then one day they don't do census between the two regimes. We almost spent $24 million on censuses where both sides do not believe.
Okay.
So we waiting our call of how to improve statistical integrity instead of just saying this census is good, this census. But you know one thing, one of the things, the biggest driver of change now with political parties then become inclusive. You they see somebody they did that bow, even if something they go bad under SLPP, you go talk to no this our party. Something where somebody go there, you go see massive poverty na McKinney. You talk to no this our party this. You understand it? Until and unless we get that belief say it has to we get forget Bo and McKinney, they talk say no, we need electricity like right now. We get power outage. We talk say no talk about power outage. But the moment you go begin to look at that power outage conversation with a lens of which region you born, me come on man. Believe me, under certain circumstances, some push them there, it can difficult for them to say certain thing there. Because they talk say, look opposition. They come up from that other side, they don't let go. You understand that? These things are real. It's not just about let's talk technical team or civil society, but we live in a context society. We actually need for look at ourselves as brothers and sisters for say then see how they affect you, they affect you all equally. For let we be in a situation where we don't work with 6 districts there now. all the 6 districts then, 4 of them are opposition. We don't actually support them for their development plans. They want to launch this week. 2 of them are ruling party district there for saying that this results we want. I mean, I can give kudos to Ban when a part of the coalition, the group who they work with, the revolution we don't create, like for example, in Western Rural, for ensure increase in revenue is phenomenal. But all of them changes then we actually need a conducive atmosphere for all the discuss them thing and rather than just the point finger.
One question I want to ask is maybe the people that they see this because people that they assume say the only medium, the only strategy we civil society get for do their work now through the media and for Guna radio. What's the other strategies the woman
the media now the last thing they use?
What's the other strategies the woman can use actually for effect changes? Will they be not visible to people then?
The media are the last thing they use. Right now, if you go online, you will see there's one platform the way they call LGST, SLGST, Sierra Leone Local Government and Services Tracker. So we deal with 6 districts there. So that LGST they show waiting civil society will don't capture. So then 6 districts they will work with. Waiting you want to do for them as a central government, waiting you want to do for as local councils, and waiting who's change way citizens about the back once for let it happen. So you see them. So you get a lot of strategies. You know what it mean for the in Parliament in 2020 for all get parliamentarians, APC, SLPP, they agree say no, this report here will believe and not go launch them. You do a lot of background work. In fact, we support them for let them go do research on with data. When they don't say now this way I not to lie the life and then now make them talk to go publish them.
Okay, I will ask you the same question. Which other strategies the owner they use for effecting changes here? We not to just media because people that will criticize on if you're not going to media, but that don't mean say you are not working. That don't mean say you work any less than you be the work during the previous regime. So which other strategies that the owner they use? We're not so visible. We're not to just radio.
And in fact, now one of the reasons why some people they think say some civil society not the act. I can give you for example on the open budget survey. The previous study we score 45 upon 100 on the transparency index. But the report we get so many recommendations there. So we begin for work with the Minister of Finance, with all the departments that are concerned, from behind closed door, and they also then ensure say they implement the things them. So the things I'm waiting at the report. And what we see the previous report, we see now say government and transparency around the budget increased now from 45 to 55. So there are a lot of dialogue which also happen behind the scene. And there are times we can, I would say that positive compromise without changing the context we look at. I can give you for example that report we do on tax exemption. We first presented to government, to the Minister of Finance, almost 6 months before we launch them. And in fact, that report, the first memo began now how to use $1 trillion loans. By then, the minister now be Dr. Kefla Mawar. So, and he not be too okay with the report entitled. So then just and they see the title as a way not pleased to them. So we discuss, with dialogue, we agree, we change the name to Losing Out, but it not change the context. In fact, in the report, we will go and picture the show bad vote stem. They say no, we also do some good vote stem. So there are times we can bring in some of those suggestions them without ensuring that the context change. So apart from going to the media, we can normally collaborate with them. In fact, one of the approaches we don't bring now is now what we can call any study what we can call co-design. That would sit with government, design the terms of reference, in terms of waiting for the day, because at the end we go for work with government for bringing about change of the issues then. So if some information that we government need for let them take certain decision around policy or whatever, if that information they will not engage them in order to that particular report today, it will make it very difficult. Like quite recently they will launch a report on gender responsive procurement. In the process they will engage Minister of Gender, Minister of Finance and Procurement, and then suggestion will incorporate them. And now we don't launch the report. Government are consider now for taking some of the recommendations there. So we also engage from the back end. In fact, that time we also get a number of informal discussion. But above all, again, we can also identify we allies there within government. We're really ready for change. And in fact, now we have to strength again. Because what we do, we have to build trust between some reformers and inside government. And let me tell you, not all of the work for government, they in line with some decisions the government they take. I can tell you, for example, Pearson issues. I know some ministers there, top ministers there, were not really happy with His Excellency the President's decision on that part there. I know some member of parliament then were not really happy on the government decision. So this is tell you, there are some people inside, but in all of this, it's around how do we ensure say change happened from the perspective and for the benefit of the citizens there. But we know what wants to happen. What our greatest challenge? The politics. Once the party don't say, hey, even though inward and happy, all man they go towards within the party don't say. And some of those decisions they affect the economy. And we as civil society will get a role for generate the evidence, bring account to them for let them take decisions. Okay. And government, can connie and then can know good decision proposals them. They can know down the one not good. So that's time they can tell them then your commission quietly implement them. So if you know the track, you know exactly how that change is done particularly happen.
Okay. For follow this a little bit, like one more question on Mohammed. We know election, for instance, 2024, organization clearly they on one part, and plenty other civil organizations they on the other part. So there is some amount of division among civil society there. What if it is a responsibility? How do we get civil society there for? Or is it actually good when civil society they know they work together sometimes?
I think say if the division harmful and bad, but the plurality, with man they call plurality, all man they think differently. They can start first for define civil society. You can find way then division based on your view on how society is better. Not to waiting, not to how Usai come out or how people then feel what you. Are you listening to me?
Yes.
So if I for letting that context they be laid. So for example, if I for let we divided over which not the best approach for local water.
Okay.
Some people will talk say no, bank will talk say no, if we do this, we will spend less per the water and we will achieve more. And some others say no. This group here they really deprive. Forget about that expenditure. No, we try to please them.
Regardless of
that expenditure. So then philosophical division and they find. But what you know happen over time, the polarization of Sierra Leone, it affects the media, it affects civil society, it affects churches, it affects mosques. Anything where they happen at the political superstructure, and they go deep down. But the good thing where I see, and for say thanks to the US Embassy and the US government and the UN and ECOWAS, for let you get political parties, then they really come together, 80 recommendations, take months, then they disagree and agree, then they disagree and agree. If then can you do that one day, why civil society not for say no, let us respect with differences and let us agree for disagree. Look back away there, there are things we only agree on, there are things they only agree on how society will go before. I believe in that the healthy relationship down there for the inside civil society work. Of course, when it comes per election, the voltage can be high. So I think it's a different situation altogether. But the civil society and they collaborate in many ways. If you pull election out, I think so on every other issue, actually civil society then come together.
We're not able to merge, we're not able to converge.
Yes. So at now make the talks, even for the election, we don't see even the political parties there, they know they come together and agree or disagree. So why now civil society? Like for example, the recommendations now on the 80 recommendations. Civil society for agreement say now so for push up. Because the political party, guess what happened? We come up at the tripartite, now they largely come together, they sit off. They put civil society.
We go for campus tripartite, now they will get for end up.
So if you still listen, the phone number we dey call on 072-641-729. We dey lock the phone lines small and we go open them back at a later date. We dey open them at exactly 10:25 for let we reviews them from Fambulem we go on for contribute. So and while we move forward, when I really don't talk about how possibilities there for the civil society then come together and work on issues them. What I understand now the challenges them when they get inside when I work. I mean, I really waiting I get my mind where I want we talk about now whether or not when they get the resources them when I need for doing our work, whether or not when they face intimidation, like political intimidation, the outside government will say, hey, if you talk, I arrest you, or whether or not the people in Tugostuna, or whether people in get interested in the work. And I want to start with you, Mr. Kamara. So I want to let you tell we basically the first thing I want to let you tell we now waiting at the challenge them we civil society group then they face in terms of accountability and then work with them they do.
You know, where you come in terms of accountability,
like where they fight for accountability, where the challenge the way they
especially in area in terms of financial accountability is timely access to information. You know, there are times we really get information, but not all the time where we need them for able for intervene, because in economic governance timing is important. For example, government publish the budget. Hopefully, this coming week, government will table the budget in Parliament. If there are certain information that we civil society need for make alternative or to make input into the budget process, if civil society need to get that information on time, it means it will affect the work we do. Because by the time you get information and want to make inputs, the process or the thing we are making inputs for, don't really go ahead. Then once you go left, we go left now for all no more now. Say for don't be so and so and so. So then I want aspect in terms of timely intervention of information. And I think the other one get for deal with how government they act on with recommendations them or the alternatives them we provide. So for that day, I know we put as challenge per se, but it's more or less in terms of the aspect of feedback from government, because in all of this work what would they do, as I stated earlier, now for the people of Sierra Leone, and if there are issues who don't communicate them, there are times they'll just keep quiet. And what that mean here is like they don't want to know about what you are doing. So, and I think that again, to some extent, they tend for pull it down in terms of the quietness of government in some critical issues and way would raise. And again, politics now one aspect would also one challenge we face in work, because there are certain issues and work they raise, the population they become divided, provided we are looking at where they stand, whether na from party A or party B. So there are times there are going to be heavy criticism on the one they will not favor on waiting you do. In fact, to the extent you see some social media blogger and the blast and all them particular stuff and they, you know. And one aspect is, as you mentioned, is around the resources. You know, civil society not so like a government where we say they get a fixed money for salary and then particular stuff and they, and we also see the aspects of how do we ensure say there are resources for even own the organization itself, because you all pay staff and all of this. So, but again, in relation to resources, it depends again how civil society position themselves, the quality of work where you do, the number of changes them where you they bring into the whole perspective. In fact, Nadamic now, most donors prefer for form coalition, because they want to see society and come together and be able to come up with a proposal and act on resources. So on that particular aspect, you know, some sort of challenge, but you also get some amount of, if you are civil society organization or civil society enable market itself, enable police results, enable police quality work, then they hinge on the funding landscape alone.
Okay, so and let I come to you. So building on that point, we don't notice a division there inside civil society operations. Then, I mean, before we come here, I've been hearing a very privileged conversation with person say some organizations, them like some civil society organizations, then them in loud APC term, and now them voice down quiet. Them sometime after with this government left. Now that time you the beginning I give them voice back. So I will let you tell we waiting at the waiting at that division within inside civil society, then more account of governance issues. Why make some then they feel like say then they support this government, and others then they feel like say then they take a more critical stance when it comes to the current government?
I think so we don't beat this point quite a lot. But I just want to take a cue from waiting Bakabi the talk. One of the reasons for the fight in civil society in our funding. So you know we do know how they really want to give funding, talk to proposal, give first. Okay, we get the house, we will get it. Because when you get your organization, you get for pay you rent, you get for pay rent in fact, a lot of donors, including the EU, don't acknowledge that they get one roadmap to civil society strengthening. They talk say really the struggle for resources now one of the biggest source of tension now. Bakar already mentioned about polarization. That polarization, if you didn't have McKinney, something and did now, you go find it difficult for late talk. If you didn't have Bo Kennyman, something and did now, you go find it difficult for late talk because the community they invest. So if I now know say that one day it's a major constraint to how they work. I think say the capacity of civil society, we find for now know say we really need for improver. Or now, if government not wants now, I don't make this road that cost me 40 million. How civil society we for oversee? Who say they pull that skill? Me not to engineer. You understand that I don't know how to do bill of quantities for that access down there. So you see say abroad, then civil society the way they really don't equip themselves. When civil society they talk and we another government official they talk. So they say they're classmate them. They talk something more technical. I think the Salon civil society will actually need for see how we will really try for strengthening capacity. And I think say the opposition back, it can really help a lot if the opposition and the ruling party they also can help. The opposition can help in your place for like actually give policy direction on how the states will be governed. Say for example, if opposition take now a major rule of law question, you know which groups they will go there around them for ally with them, like CAR. If the opposition take now a major question, say for example, like around census, you will see you get groups them now when they talk say one do on data integrity, they would. But the moment it become high voltage politics between party, you see say no, civil society not the good. The ruling party therefore play a big role for letting make sure say all the policies and programs where let government be driven by policy, not to just politics. If you go to Rwanda, one of the biggest difference between SADC and Rwanda, to the credit for credit to government, when they see it move more towards a performance-based system. But for we all know say Mr. A in at this position here because of do X, Y, and Z, and if you not do them with the pull them, you understand it? But if that person in the civil society they holler, hey, no, this person here, you know do well, you still keep and they, you don't say that holler not gonna mean anything again. So government, it's good. We don't see ministerial performance contract they come out, MDA performance contract they come out. Let the public then see. The moment you move the public towards a performance-driven economy, then you go begin out to see which role all the civil society they play. So the opposition gets a role for give policy direction, we civil society they follow, and then we the state bank gets a role for play.
Okay, so Fambulem, we've been unlock the phone line with the open and back 1025. So you will go and call the number at 072641729. Before we move to the next question, I got one last question for ask. Somebody been called, say civil society, they don't betray the people and then they take brown envelope and then they do the work with and they do again. So how do they deal with issues of public mistrust inside on our work? How do they affect on our work? Maybe say citizens them not trust on too much, or some them know they give that too much interest inside on our work because they feel like say on I don't lose sight of what I really need for do. How do they affect on our work?
No, trust that you possibly the hand, but sometimes then distrust or mistrust the public can get, it can deliberate. Where you get data about an issue, that politician don't want to change the behavior. You know what they do? They go behind that data and say, "I go smear that one then they," and I support her there. If I go talk say no, this one I will this way Mr. Kamara they talk, this is not true. It's easy for them to take up. So it all only they make civil society they work very, very difficult. So but trust me, can't say it has to be. It's slowly, you know, because
so you talk about everything that what remain very, very important. Probably we from the also need for know is that we are not going to succeed without government. Now,
you know, one of the things we will do with the complement government efforts in a real way.
Exactly.
And we and government get the same goal, but now different approach. Government they for provide services to people them, and we want also let government provide services to people in a transparent and in a transparent and accountable way. Of course, like most of the work we do, not for one, I mean, criticize some of the government and policies then, and also provide alternative what the government incorporate. So it's always good for let we work with government, but that work with government from an objective point of view.
Okay.
From the point of not just criticizing, but also providing alternatives and what we feel say will best work in the interest of the people in Salone. So yes, we will work with government and we will continue to work with government for bringing about change, and we will work with them, they help for only accountable in that respective and constructive manner. I mean, one of the things then why some civil society there is the manner and approach of how they address certain issues them. So it's about how do we ensure say one, we very much critical of the issues them, but the issues now issue will get facts and not just facts, but we also get an alternative for provide for also ensure say that particular thing there. And the one for take up the recommendations or whatever what they provide na government. So which means there's a need for work with government. We can't work in isolation.
Exactly. We need to collaborate with government.
So let's stop on at this small. As the discussion they go on let family you see because of the calls will be the get we know they wait again for 10:25. We open the phone lines now. The number na 072-641-729 072-641-729. So
Mr. Lavali, obviously the answer is clear. We need for work with government. We need for work with government. But you didn't see any pitfall in actually working closely with government. You didn't see any problems. You didn't see any challenges. So now this can create some of the distrust if you work too much with government.
So I mean, Bakar right for talk say civil society and government they just get to work together. Because all civil society is a resource of government. Even that critical for government is meant for let government learn from and do better. Civil society will not for replace government, but for correct government. You get approaches them we civil society get, like for example, when they say M&E, performance-based financing, it don't creep inside government now. Government the approaches them. So not to just hide the critique, ban don't talk about a number of research we don't form into laws and now for let things they go better. So imagine if you just they go no more say no me role no more for critique. You understand that you know they only lost government but they lost constituents. It's more important. So telling the more you talk say are the effect for results, as long as people the healthcare don't better. You criticize me, say you not criticize me, or for say I don't hold brand envelope, me not care. That person they lost in trust. So it's a difficult place for the civil society there. And how they communicate this not quiet now for you really have the talk. You understand that? It's really, really difficult. So sometimes what we call social accountability for the government for create solution. People like this people like not saying you don't sell game. You understand it? So you know for letting if you say oh they work we don't know we need to see what put in the way bad with that dot in there. But sometimes then you can just close your eyes say no, if we achieve this it's for the greater good. But sometimes the more you do that back, you don't communicate to people them, you lose them as well.
Okay. Let's stay within the same thing and let's talk about the tripartite a little bit. They've been bring what are the tripartite? Three tripartite means three sides, right?
Mm-hmm.
Government, APC specifically, and international community. Which role will I play?
Well,
which role the people of Sierra Leone play? Because we not they represent the people of Sierra Leone. Well, we're not a government. We're not international. Which role?
Well, we played some role in the sense that we not really
and ready for telling which role that they play going forward in resolving in ensuring the 81 recommendations happen and the 15 we they not agree on.
Yeah, so they call we so here's the thing. So we then recommend say civil society for the on the panel and for the on the part of the committee. Who civil society for the who's not for the they get one whole confusion. And I don't blame them because of the deep mistrust that they will get. So in fact they pull civil society out. So when they pull her out now, now panel no more we sit down. So we publish papers. We say that this and this we see we can be recommendations. But at the end of the day, we get panel and we'll get a lot of other organizations. There will be actually hold parallel sessions there with some committee members. So we watch the report, you actually see like national elections watch, they see the reports then the subsequent report they will don't get all the inside the report. So we know actually did it as we wanted, but we get thoughts then of how it reflects we thoughts then reflected.
Okay.
You know it's difficult. We don't know whether it will be messy or if it will be fine if civil society will take part. There's a lot of trade-offs. There's a lot of horse trade with them that they do. For them come with 81 recommendations. So we don't know if civil society will do it, whether that conversation for don't go to the point for them agree on so easily and arrive at that.
So going forward, which role civil society get for play in this 81 plus whatever would they not be agree on?
What I say, for example, new we call a meeting for bringing civil society together and for also look at how they work together for implement the recommendations. First of all, civil society don't begin to look at the recommendations then, what they raise, and it don't become quite clear. Say there are some recommendations the way civil society not too great. For example, the recommendation around a political party will not win election for 2 consecutive terms, therefore deregister. I mean, there are some political parties that don't exist for winning election. They only exist for provide constructive engagement or provide other things. Then, so civil society don't begin to look into that particular aspect there, and they also try for analyze the some of the recommendations then for look at how they go ensure say the recommendations then they implement them, but also those recommendations way not they in favor of the people them or way problematic, they find a way for see how they go resolve for address some of those particular issues. But I think the thing is, it's about how do we ensure, say, the process of implementing recognition. One is transparent and inclusive. Because if you're not transparent, inclusive, it's going to be a problem going forward.
Okay, so today, as una still there with we been the talk about the work with civil society don't they do inside the country, and waiting at their unique strengths, then we talk around and the end some success stories them of how they know the impact government. We talk also about whether or not them people are still strong or them don't grow weak compared to how them been they during the war time, and what are some of the challenges them with them people here they face inside and work with them they do, and how them were able for improve collaboration with governments. Quick one, just 5-10 seconds quick. What do you feel saying at the future of civil society and government? Na Salone, sorry. Just quick one, 10 seconds. Sir. How you feel say civil society get for look like tomorrow?
Well, I think civil society first of all don't really specialize. And I feel say if we continue that way, they will become more stronger. And again, the aspect of coming together to work on a particular issue, it don't begin to come glaring, and we don't see a number of collaboration don't happen, and we feel say where that will continue going forward, it will make us become more stronger and take a collective voice for a particular issue.
Okay, and over to you, Mr. Lavali. Quick one, what do you feel say in the future of civil society? 10 seconds.
No, I think the civil society get for land quite a lot from what the politicians that they do for we then come together, and we said we really get for see how we they walk across the aisle, and because the resource is really small, we will get, so we get for really see how we do.
With that, we thank you very much for taking the time and come. Thank you. We hope say in the future it will journey again, and yourself we hope say in the future we will journey again, and we thank the people that for listening to me.
Me we done the host na my name na Bimba Kamara, and my co-host and my own special person today na Dr. Adam. So till next week, I wanna thank you for joining.